is not agile, and it actually is quite sluggish and gets you shot more than I care to mention. And when you do get shot, as you've seen, if it's a battleship, you are getting Citadel. And even if it's a cruiser with 203s, you're getting Citadel. It gets hurt quite badly. But we finished the match. Not a bad match. Two guys on our side of the match, tops of the leaderboard. Can't argue with that, right? We did everything we could. We brought home 283,000 silver in profit. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Our problem down. What about the stuff we forgot? On DoorDash. On at DoorDash with the everyday miracle. Double punch, double barrels, double fire. Our batter's not clear. Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight I have a brand new ship for you guys to see. This is the Tier 6 French battleship, the Lyon. Now, first things first, as we always do, is it a good looking ship? And honestly, it's not a bad looking ship, but those turrets just don't feel like they belong on that ship. Looks like it should have much smaller turrets, but that being said, it's by far not the worst looking ship ever. It's not a bad looking ship. It just looks a little weird with giant turrets like that. But that being said, let's get into it. Let's look at the commander. We have Robert Gigard, and his skills are 4. We have Andrew Cunningham and Charles Matt. Again, I should probably change that, but I always forget. Flammable Cannoneer, Gyrating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, Reaching Out XXL, and Will to Rebuild. Alright, now we go to the loadouts. Yeah, there we go. You can see I have the usuals, aiming systems, propulsion mod, and target acquisition. Now for this one, I always go propulsion mod, but you could easily throw in steering gears in this just for that extra turning so that you can more easily get the broadsides off and get back before you get punched for it. Fully upgraded, obviously, and got my Alpha Tester flag, and I run the Hunter camouflage because I don't run the Hunter on anything else, but it looks good on this ship. Alright, so survivability 53,400 hit points, not bad. Only a 16% damage reduction for torpedoes, so torpedoes really hurt. Also, I've been detonated by a torpedo in this thing, so don't get hit by torpedoes if you can help. Now, artillery, we have 4 turrets with 4 guns each, giving you a total of 16 340mm guns that can reach out to 17.8 kilometers and reload in just under 30 seconds. They're a little slow turning with 41.4 180-degree guns, but you don't really notice it too much in this because you already have them on the same side and you use the ship itself to turn them when needed. HE is the selling point of this ship. Don't get me wrong, AP works, bear with me, but the AP, or the HE in this ship, sorry, that was really loud, I just destroyed my microphone and plunged it because I'm getting animated. The HE in this ship is actually very, very good. Reminiscent of the King George. It does so much damage, not even with the fires, don't get me wrong, it sets fires, but the damage that it does is pretty nasty, 4,700 damage, and that is very consistent as long as you're hitting the superstructure. And with the 16 shells that you're firing, it can be absolutely ridiculous how much HE damage you can get per salvo. You'll see that against Iowas in the video coming up. But secondaries are very good as well. We have 130mm 4x2 turrets and 130mm 4x4 turrets. So you have 4 turrets of each, and one
you are dead, man.
Guns on each, and the other has 4 guns on each. So some nasty secondaries. Little in short range, but not terrible. 5.3 kilometers. numbers. If you went with a secondary build, you could probably bump that up to close to 7. Maybe a little more. I don't know. It'd be close. And they do damage. So, not bad. And it's AG, which is bad. AA defense, we don't really care about this because we don't have carriers at the moment. Maneuverability. 25 knots is not exactly fast, but it's not slow for the, high tier, it's not bad. 700 meter drag circle is not bad for a battleship. 14.8 seconds on the rudder shift time is not bad either. Concealment, 14.2, 11.72, and 12.2. Not bad. For battleships, this is a battleship. Now, if we look at the overview, you've got 1 plus and 1 minus, and they're both the guns. So 1, you have more guns on your ship at this tier than any other gun or any other ship in the game, with the exception of the Atlanta. The Atlanta has more guns. But the Atlanta has more guns than anybody, so that's a thing. But 16 battleship guns is still pretty fantastic. Now, as you can see, the negative is that it has modest guns. They're low caliber. They're only 340 millimeters. So any battleship that's angled, you're going to struggle to get penetrations. You can get penetrations, and you can definitely Citadel with this thing, with its dispersion being pretty fantastic. At times, disgusting. But the HE is where you're going to make your money. Because this thing's HE, like I said, feels a lot like the King George, maybe without the fire chance, but the King George's damage, and it has more guns. It's pretty nasty. You'll see it. Now, the Leon, a battleship design created before the outbreak of World War I, representing an improvement on the previous Normandy class, but carrying an enhanced primary armament. The addition of the 4th main gun turret allowed the ship to deliver a unique 16-gun broadside salvo, and it was designed in 1913. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here, and we're going to jump over into the match before I go getting too crazy. But look at these secondary, alright? There's your quad turrets. There's your double turrets. Or no, that's another quad turret. So you have 2 quad turrets on each side. You've got a double turret there. You got another double turret here. 2 quad turrets. And you have a double turret on each side at the front. So, nasty little gun. Nasty. But, with that being said, let's get to the match.
Reporting the target position. Enemy battleship sighted.
Last minute shopping? Perfect timing. Walmart's got you covered through 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Stocking stuffers? We're on it. Surprise guests? We've got you. Another toy on their list? Done. Wrap up your shopping with Walmart.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
So, let's get down to it. Now we are on Trident. What do we know about Trident, guys? Well, we know that on the short side of the Trident, the stick side of the Trident, that if you spawn in the south, you have the numbers advantage over the north. Just the way the map is spawned. So what you want to do is you want to push that side in force. And then you want to get your crisscross or your crossfire on the enemy on the other side. Hoping that your team lives long enough to make that a thing. Because they're going to be overmatched on the A side, while we're going to go to the C side. Now, I started turning, and then finally the Shark Horse wakes up, so I'm glad he did actually start moving, because that would have been a collision right off the bat, which would have slowed me down, and that would have been bad. But he didn't, and we're fine. Now, first thing spotted was an island. Now, that should tell you right away, we're not up here in this bit. He's just outside my range, but he just gets into my range. Perfect timing. Beautiful. Now, remember what I said about the HE in this ship? Watch the salvo. 1 salvo, 16 rounds, high explosive versus an Isle. Yeah, that's 9,300 damage and a fire. That's insanity! That was 6 hits, and we got 9,300 damage and set of fire. Watch the stick salvo. Waiting for it, and fire the guns. initially just say if I'm getting ready to take routes because I know that they could hit me. And yeah, we get 6 more hits and more damage. Didn't get as much damage that time out of the salvo because of the fact that we hit towards the front of the ship. We didn't hit the superstructure. If you want to do maximum damage with your high explosive, you gotta hit that superstructure. And if you do, this ship can absolutely chunk battleships. Like, absolutely chunk them. It's like getting multiple penetrations every single time. So, definitely that was a perfect example. You see how much damage we just took off him? Just absolutely chunking. And he's still burning. Obviously, our fires already went out on him, but he's still burning from someone. We looked over, we've got a Kagero that's been spotted, and so we're going to make a mental note of that. We don't want to get caught by the Kagero. We know he's there. And we're just going to go ahead. I waited to see if he was going to finish him off. It didn't look like he was going to, so I go ahead and I fire mine, and sure enough, down goes the island. Taking out an island this early in the match is absolutely fantastic, and we did it without any armor piercing. And we already have 42,000 damage off of one island. That's crazy! 42,000 damage off of an island with nothing but HE. That's ridiculous. So that should tell you just how dangerous the high explosive is on this ship. Now, I'm not saying it's going to have high explosive all the time, but at any sort of range like that, definitely want to be trying to use that high explosive because the angle of impact that you're going to be coming in at, your small caliber shells are going to have struggled to bend even side armor of battleships. So, personally, I would hold off on firing armor piercing at beyond 11 kilometers. Now, if you're inside that 11 kilometer range, then by all means, unleash the 16 guns of armor piercing. But look at this island. We're about to hit it. And, yep, that's 12,355 damage and another fire. Now, luckily, our Akatsuki woke up. He was like AFK for a minute. And he woke up, was able to start moving, and immediately spotted the enemy Kagero's torpedoes headed in our direction. And I appreciate that. I knew they would probably be coming, but being able to see them that far away gave me perfect time to turn in and not take any torps. Now, remember what I said about taking torps in this thing. It's very dangerous to take torpedoes in this ship. It doesn't like torpedoes. I've been detonated by a torpedo already in this ship, which doesn't bode well. And the sad part is, it was only the third torpedo I took. Now I know what you're saying. It was 3 torpedoes. You took 3. Yeah. Well, I took 2 the first time, and then the second time I got hit, it was a detonation for like 16,000 damage. But you know, you can't win them all. When you're hunting destroyers in a battleship, you're gonna take torpedoes. That's just the way it is. That's why cruisers are the best hunters. But this Iowa has realized quickly that he has screwed up. He's trying to turn away, but it's hard to do. He's just making himself a 900-foot high explosive magnet, and we get some more hits on him, taking our damage now to over 80,000 damage. And he's still burning. He's still burning. Now we've got destroyers firing armor piercing at us from inside a smoke screen, so that's like the least dangerous thing you could ever happen. But we also avoided all of the torpedoes because we made the change of course and came over to the backside of the island. So we avoided all of those torpedoes. We get the shot off of the island. Nobody else was able to get to him. He'd already put out the fire, but unfortunately for him, he didn't get enough distance. And down he goes, giving us our second Iowa kill in a Tier 5 or Tier 6 battleship that has 340mm guns, using nothing but high explosive. And we're up to 90,000 damage. Yeah, that's significant. But we're not done yet, folks. Now, there was good communication here. There was a cruiser behind me and an Attigo who started talking. Me and him started talking, and he did a pretty good job of helping support us with using his acoustics, hydroacoustics, to pick up some torpedoes in a moment. This Bismarck is getting away after I just told the Bismarck, hey, there's still I know you want to go after the Fletcher, but there is still a Japanese destroyer somewhere over there, whether it's the smoke screen or he's already slipped past it. Unfortunately for the Bismarck, I had no idea the Cockero had already slipped past me. While we've been, distracted with the Iowa and the Fletcher, the Cockero has slipped past us and is setting up torp strikes from our behind. And this poor Bismarck is about to eat every last one of them. I say every last one of them because he's actually not. He's not going to eat every last one of them. A couple are going to get through, and one of them is actually going to hit the Attigo that was helping us. It was just one of those things where we're like, hey, if you've got your hydroacoustic, go ahead and use it. We know there are going to be torps on the way. Sure enough, he spots the torps coming off the right side. Those are from the Fletcher. What we didn't spot until it was too late was the torps coming off the left side of the Bismarck. So I called out, hey Bismarck, you got torps off your right side, prepare, get yourself out of there, and then I look over and I'm like, oh my god, you're screwed. And yeah, the Japanese torpedoes, if you eat that many of them, you're not going to have a good day. And watch this. The Attigo was perfectly fine, and then he kind of like rolled right out in front of these and catches one right up the prop jack. Not preferable, especially considering it was a Japanese torpedo. So that was probably the most damage I've ever seen out of a single salvo of a Cockero, because he took all of the health of the Bismarck and then took a good chunk of the health of the Attigo with one single torp strike. I mean, you're looking at what? 75 to 80,000 damage in one salvo? Ouch. I say one salvo. It was two different torpedo launches, but it was, one torpedo strike. I call it a salvo. And I know there are some people out there that are like, Spartan, you don't know what you're talking about. There's no salvos. No. You know what I mean. But we're kind of right in the middle of everything. In a perfect position with our battleship that doesn't have a whole lot of range to help the team do as much as possible, and we're still firing AP or AG. Now, I thought about switching to AP, but with those two destroyers still lurking around, I didn't really want to chance it, because if I switched to AP now to shoot at the cruisers, I chance having the destroyer come out, and then I'm kind of stuck with AP. So I kept it on HE, fully expecting to get into a fight with the destroyer at any moment. Luckily for me, I'm also paying attention. Again, people get on me all the time for not following my shots in and stuff, and I get that from a, hey, we want to see where you're hitting and how you're getting the damage that you're getting. But from my standpoint, I'm looking around trying to make sure I'm not going to get torched first. That is my main objective. Now, I've done a really good job up to this point, not getting torched, maintaining good aggression, balanced with not getting myself obliterated. And I mentioned how tough this ship can be. I actually have put, and that was a terrible salvo, by the way. I completely forgot about the mountain and managed to shoot all 16 rounds right into the mountain. But don't worry, the mountain's not bad that I cut it down about, 3 or 4 feet. The Cockero gets spotted here. And that's kind of a big deal. Because now I know where he's at, and I know that he's got torps in the water. There's only one reason that a destroyer ever gets spotted, and that's to launch torps. I don't want to find out what a bunch of Japanese torps are going to do to me. I already know how that story ends, and it isn't in my favor. So while I'm closing the gap to get shots on the Scharnhorst over here, which is just outside our range as he's sailing away from us, I get my torpedo warning. I've already changed course, but I realize I need to change a little bit more and slow down, just to give them enough time to pass, like McTavish said. Just let them pass. You don't need to do anything crazy, just let them pass. And sure enough, we get away with it. Now, the Scharnhorst had the same kind of idea. He slows down, and most of my shells miss, but we do get a hit for like 1,500 damage. Not a bad hit for a high explosive on battleship. And Scharnhorsts are no strangers to high explosives, because pretty much everybody shoots a Scharnhorst with high explosives, unless you've got the perfect broadside, you've got really good guns. You don't generally send element, even with the big guns, you can get a lot of penetrations, which still adds up to a significant amount of damage. But then you've got HE that can do, serious damage each time. Now, we once again only hit him with 2. One of them shattered, which I don't know how high explosive rounds can shatter. It's high explosive impact, right?
Your dog whining after you get back.
With impact, use high explosive IFAG. But still, it's supposed to detonate on contact.
Was you whining?
I don't know how it...
Was you whining?
How does that work?
Girl, you little whining baby.
Speaking of armor piercing...
Maybe you go home.
Because that's sexy.
Just couldn't quite be slowed down and turned. Keeping us from doing. Now, I was fully expecting the Kagero to play a little more aggressively here, but he doesn't. And so, I'm kind of stuck looking for a target to shoot. And I'm behind an island, and I can't actually help the team at the moment. It's not preferable, but that's not going to last much longer because, hello, Attigo. How you doing? I have armor piercing ready, and we were it. Ow. Our first citadel of the game. Might as well get one of those thrown in there. We're already doing pretty good. We've got a purple blood. We've got 106,000 damage. Primarily shooting nothing but HE. I thought the kid would follow the island and come over to try to set up a torp strike. Does the kid get torpedoes? I think it does. I don't actually have the kid. But I can't remember. I know on PC there was a destroyer that only had guns for the Americans. And I thought that it was the kid, but I could be wrong. Somebody will let me know because you guys are smarter than I am. So I appreciate that. If you do, I appreciate it. Now, we have 2 destroyers. The Kagero thinks he's being sneaky, but in all honesty, he's really not being sneaky at all. He's hiding. He's sent torps towards the one side, but it's one salvo of torpedoes. 1 set of torps from each ship. I know he gets 2 sets. I know he's going to send the torps right with me. I'm going to make sure. Because there's not much time left, and less than 2 minutes. I'm going to start rotating my guns to the right side to get ready to shoot. And I'm going to try to make them in. Now, we've got the kid out here, so I'm going to go ahead and try to hit the kid. But honestly, at this range, if I can generally hit destroyers at distance. I don't really have too much trouble with it, like some people do. But this guy was doing a pretty good job of not just staying in straight lines and stuff. So we go ahead and we shoot out ahead of him. Unfortunately, he had slowed down to shoot at the, or to set up a smoke screen at night. So we ended up leaving away too much. Now this Kagero comes down and he's like, oh, I've got it now, look at me, I'm gonna want torpedoes. And I'm like, hi sunshine, how you doing? Now my secondaries are starting to fire. Which kind of shows you how empty those little turrets are. Because they get pretty good fire visuals for secondaries. Firing straight over the nose of the ship, basically. But we're just about over here, and wait for it. Remember about not missing fuel, not the whole missing, just reverse too much. You're inside that kind of distance. It's amazing if you can get away with it. But the game is just before time runs out. We pulled it off, and I managed to not get torpedoed anyway. Well, we pulled a pretty good game out of the ship. Honestly, it's crunchier than I thought it would be, because you're not, you bow tank the shots that are coming in, and then you swing the rear out to get all of the guns on target while the enemy is reloading. And as long as you do that, you can have fantastic results with this thing. So if you like what I'm doing, much like what leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Hello everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight you guys asked for it. Well, maybe you didn't ask for it, but I put up a poll on my channel and said, hey, I got a couple ideas for what I should do tonight. I've got some good videos on a brand new ship, or some other ships that we run more frequently, or we can do a stream tonight. And you guys, well, in hand, I don't know how decided landslide victory for the ship. And as you guys may have guessed, considering it was the only battleship that I did currently own that was a tech-free battleship, it is the Tier 7 French battleship, the Richelieu. Now, we already know the high points of the Richelieu, and that is these 8 380mm guns that are over the bow of the ship. But what you don't know, maybe, or maybe you do, is that this thing has the ridiculous secondaries on the back of the ship. I believe they're 152 millimeters, but we'll go over that in a minute. Let's get to it. How do we check our captain now? Okay, we're going to go to upgrade.
Repower like Titanic.
That's filters. Do we have to go to commanders now to do this? Fine, we'll go to commanders. As you guys have already seen in previous videos, Robert Gichard is our commander for the French battleships. And his obvious trait is horror. But he also has level.
Oh, they're all put together.
We changed it up a little
Except
bit.
one
And went with
over here.
Megalomania. Now the Megalomania
He begging to
is
die.
a reduced duration of increased detectability of the battleship after firing its main guns, as well as quickening their reload time.
Like
So the
warships,
reload time of the
and not me.
battleship's main guns has
That
been
guy's still
reduced
dead,
by
man.
7.5%. That is sneaky good. Sneaky good. Megalomania is one of those perks that you don't look at right away because I'm used to having, dispersion. But then you look at it and you're like, 7.5% reload bug, plus the battleship's detectability after firing the main guns is reduced
Not
by
too left when you're sitting down.
18.75%. So after instead of being lit up for 10 seconds, you drop that by 18%. So you're like, I don't know, close to 20%, which is almost 2, so a little over 8 seconds. Doesn't seem like much, but it could be the difference between a guy getting his guns on you or not. But yeah, moving on, we've got reaching out XXL, getting that extra range, which for these guys is kind of important for the beyond mid-range engagements. But you can definitely go with this if you wanted to with damage control, reload time. It's not a bad perk, because you're going to get into a lot of situations where you're getting broken guns and stuff, so the damage control not a bad play here, but I kind of prefer having the extra range. And we are a Legend Class 1, and the amount of HP recovered is 3%. Now, I decided to stop at Legend Class 1
But like I
for
did.
this reason. Now,
Wham.
you get a penalty increase as well with Legendary ranks.
You're still alive.
Yes, you go up by another 2% of the AP damage. Yes, you get a 0.3 degrees per second buff to your turret speed. But the 3% extra on your battleship speed is noticeable. I noticed it on my Iowa pretty bad. Don't really recommend going beyond Legendary Rank 1 in this particular ship. It needs its mobility. That's kind of its calling card. So, yeah, definitely holding on to the speed a little bit here. And of course, my commander's inspirations are Andrew Cunningham. Obviously, for every commander you have, pretty much going to have to be him. As far as battleships, you got to have that 4.5% bonus to the precision of your main batteries. Is heavily good on the battleships. And then, of course, Charles Madden. I've got him for the extra reload type buff. He's still really low level, so I don't get much out of him. But also main battery diversity. Still haven't changed him. I'm thinking about it, but, old habits are hard to break. Now, getting back to the ship. Go back to standard. The Rishilu. Oh god. You can tell the new UI is going to be a little difficult for me to learn. Again, old habits hard to break. Loadout. You can see I'm running everything because I was a little low on all my stuff, so I went ahead and started throwing some boosters on. So keep that in mind when we see the result of the battle. We've got our Alpha flag on there. We've got camo. I like the Type 3 Halloween camo on this ship. It looks really nice. I like that green. Also, I've got the Epic booster for +3 to main gun range, +3 to movement speed, and -5% to reload time consumable. As you can see, I've got plenty of them as the standard, and you can just change them over as needed to get to the epics. Do a few at a time. Now, survivability, 60,510 hit points. Well, not great for a battleship, but remember, we get a reduced amount of HP. But also, I'm not fully upgraded. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. I'm not fully upgraded. I still need to get the propulsion upgrade. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get any more hit points, but, you know, just keep that in mind when we look at the speed and whatnot. But, as you can see, 35% torpedo damage reduction is pretty nice. It's 10% better than the Iowa. It's pretty standard for most Tier 7 battleships, I think. Alabama being the standout with 49%, which is insane. The guns. It has 8 front-mounted, 2 turrets firing 4 guns each, 380 millimeters, and with the buffs, and that includes the booster for the Epic Battle, or Epic Booster, gives you 20-kilometer range. That is almost Iowa. Hello? Why are you doing that? Don't do that to me. I'm recording a video, war baby. Hello? I know. I gotta get into there. This is the first. I just got home from work, guys. So yes, we have got the reload all the way down to 24.2 seconds. Again, like I said, very sneaky for a battleship. Okay. Now I know you can get the reloads on other battleships down quite a bit too. But 24.2 seconds is sneaky. And these armor piercing aren't that bad. 180-degree turn time, 32 seconds. So not the worst, but not the best either, obviously. HE shell damage 5400 with a 36% chance to set on fire. AP shell